Welcome to Transforming Human Consciousness. I am Meherangiz, your host. This is a program which is sponsored by the Spiritual Assembly of the Baha'is of Claremont and is dedicated to the celebration and understanding of the oneness of humanity, the pivotal teachings of the Baha'i faith. Every chance that we have here, every show, I like to introduce to you a guest which will contribute, which will bring us enlightenment. And today, I have a very special occasion to introduce to you an international traveler, an international personality, a person, an individual who has dedicated her whole life to the cause of oneness of humanity, and especially education of people across the world. Mrs. Meherangiz Munsiff. Monsiff, is I say right? So good to have you here. Welcome.
Thank you.
And I guess I would probably pronounce it in my special Persian accent, which is not correct.
That's okay. Don't worry. Yeah, as long as you call me.
What does Monsiff mean?
Munsiff means judge, because my husband's grandfather was a judge in India, and my first name is Meherangiz, means giver of love.
And you certainly have been living that.
No, I'm very difficult to live by that, to be honest with it. You can't have love and justice, but you can do without love, without hate, perhaps you can have justice.
Justice would do fine.
Yes. Because if you have love, then maybe you overlook the fault of the other and you don't give justice. And God forbid, if you have hate, it's worse. And so it's difficult. But never mind. We juggle on.
Okay. What is an international? Who is an international Baha'i teacher?
Well, international is said because I travel so much, and it's not only one or two countries. I've been fortunate enough to be on the continent of the world, and over 183 countries and main islands and mandates of the world, in many countries over and over again. And since I've been a Baha'i independently from the age of 14, and I do not like to hide my age because I'm very proud of all the years I've spent. I'm 75 years old. And it's just wonderful to be that. Now, when this international Baha'i teacher means I go and meet the Baha'is and talk to them more about the faith and listen them so that they can understand. And if they have a faith, then I explain to them. But Kiran dear, I like the title you have, this long big title.
Transforming Human Consciousness? What do you like about it?
What I like about it, that you have the nerves to call that, but you don't tell me how you're going to do that. Because, I don't know anybody that can say, oh, you sit like this or sit like that or put your head up or feet up and all that business, because some people don't have legs and arms to do all that. So, and how, on what basis does humanity think? First of all, do people have consciousness? And if they have consciousness, what are they conscious about? What are they looking for? Where are they going? Do they stop to think? Or we are all very busy? Somebody asked me some time back, what is the difference between the Eastern people and the Western people? I said, none. Because the Western people are running so fast they don't know where they're going, and Eastern people sit there and they don't know why they're sitting there. So it would be very nice if we have, something in the middle, join together and do something. Now the consciousness, transformation of that consciousness is not done by individual, by people just thinking and bringing about some opinion or some method of one's own. It has always has been done and will be done by God through His messengers to the world at certain ages. And they are the only people, and they are the only ones that have not had any educated from this world. And they are the educator of the world. They transform the heart, the mind, the soul, the conscience of the people.
Which is the hidden words from the writings of Baha'u'llah. Says, the candle of thine heart is lighted by the hand of my power.
That's right. And his power is God's power. All the manifestation of God, they bring power from that. Like it's saying the rays of the sun gives the energy to this world. The sun itself doesn't come down on earth, otherwise the earth would be destroyed. So all the rays are from the same sun. And then it gives power, and whosoever goes under the sun and gets that energy, fine. And whosoever wish to lock themselves up in the room and stay in the dark room, well, for days and months and years maybe, then all they do is they develop tuberculosis or something, and then they're there.
So the principle is, love me that I may love thee.
Yeah.
If thou lovest me not, my love can in no way.
But love is not understood. So I wouldn't even talk about that kind of love, because today, unfortunately, the love is, you know where it is. So
where is it?
I won't say it on television, but it's not up in the heart. Okay. So you understand that. So love is not understood. And love doesn't mean that kind of love that we know today. Love is taught by all the messenger of God as to be for humanity, not what any religion has, not what will do for me, but what can I do for that religion? Why have I been created? What kind of and it's not one for all and all for one. No way. The one must give it for all. All cannot give it for one. It's not justice. You see? So this is something that we have to understand, that the unity cannot be brought about. I challenge the world because they cannot. What will change the heart and conscience of the people? Not just by saying, oh yes, I respect you and you respect me, or I love you and I love you. What is nonsense? It's not reality. The reality is that when I have a standard, I have a formula to go with it, like they did at the time of Krishna or Buddha or Abraham or Moses or Jesus or Muhammad. Now Baha'u'llah, the founder of the Baha'is, 150 years ago he gave us a formula. Not now, because the situation of the world is so bad. He is not living in a palace and people are finding it. He was in the palace 150 years ago, and he was put in prison underground in the dungeon with the heaviest chains around his neck, which weighed 50 kilos, and his elbows was changed with other prisoners, his wrist was changed, his feet was put in the stock and bastinated with chain till it bled. He was fed once in 3 days, and it was a sewer. It wasn't just a prison or a dungeon. And the smell was awful. It had all kinds of vermin. And who can survive there? Any human being, how long? And once in a while he would be brought out with the heaviest chains around his neck, without hat, without shoes, in the midday sun, and made to run 15 kilometers, the chain pulled by the horse. Tell me, how long one can suffer like that? But Baha'u'llah suffered 4 months, night and day, to bring about this humanity. That is what we say, oh, human beings are made in the image of God. Just think, sometimes I wonder. But really, we have the quality if we want to polish it and enlighten ourselves and enlighten people. And Baha'u'llah was exiled with his family to Turkey, then to Iraq, then to Turkey, and then to Akka, Palestine, now known as Akka, Israel. And 40 years he was in imprisonment. His eldest son, who was 9 years old when he went to prison with his father, and he was released at the age of 65.
Mrs. Munsiff, let's go ahead and take a break, but I'd love to hear the rest of the insight and the story. And it seems like you're really moving us through some of the history of the Baha'i faith.
To show how it is being done. Yeah. It's not just a fantasy. Yeah. It's not just because it can be on television. It is reality. That's what I want.
Well, let's go ahead and take a break, and then we'll come back, and I'd love for our viewers to hear. And I'd like to invite you to watch the upcoming video footage, which is about some of the Baha'is and their expressions of their experience about what it is to be a Baha'i. And when we come back, we'll continue our conversation with Mrs. Munsiff.
Hi, my name's Susie Tamas. I'm from Almont, which is a little community just outside of Ottawa in Ontario in Canada. And I'm down here in Orlando at this wonderful conference on social and economic development. It's been sponsored by the Rabbani Trust. It's a gathering of Baha'is and their friends from all over the Americas to talk about the work that we're doing and learning in social and economic development. Being a Baha'i is really the core of my life. When I found the Baha'i faith, it provided me with a framework that allowed me to understand my relationship to all of the peoples of the world, and how to understand why there are conflicts between us because of the divisions, the false divisions that we've allowed to creep in. So being here has been a real boost. I've met people from Chile and Bolivia and Alaska and Greenland and all over my own country and the States. And each one of them in their own diverse way is engaged in trying to build healthy, sustainable communities based on the concept that we are one race as a human race, and that there is equality ordained between men and women. We just haven't quite figured out how to practice it yet. And all of the people I've spoken with have given me a little gift of some new idea or some concept that I'd never thought of before. And that's the beauty of consulting with people. We all have something to contribute to a problem. That's what's been happening here. The energy is electric, and I just can't wait to see what's going to happen when all these folks find themselves back at home.
Hi, my name is Dan Martig. I'm a student at Stetson University in DeLand, Florida. I'm a Baha'i. What can I say about the Baha'i faith? It's really a guiding light in my life that gives me direction both morally and ethically, which really makes a lot of complicated decision making at this point in my life very easy as I have the guidance of Allah. The amount of love felt here at this conference was incredible. Everywhere you walked, you would get hugs by people who you didn't know, but you knew that they were kindred souls. That's really a meaningful thing. It's a spiritual feeling that can't be compared to anything else, a feeling of unity with your fellow man to a degree of which it's uncomprehendable to most. It's really something you have to experience.
I just wanted to say I am Mary Kay McCoskey from Connecticut. And what I do for a living is I work on a presentation called Amazing Grace, Stories of Personal Transformation from Slavery to the Present Day. And my partner, who is black, and I, who am white, we're two women, tell the story of race relations in this country through the pain and then the upliftment of people who have really changed from hate to love. Now, I became a Baha'i in Ireland because I wanted to teach my little baby who was just born something of spirituality, but I was born and raised a Roman Catholic. And when I became a Baha'i, I really learned to love my Catholic education and Jesus so very much because my whole knowledge of him just expanded into great love and felt that he was much more divine than I had ever learned. And so now I feel like I'm Catholic and Buddhist and Zoroastrian and Protestant and Lutheran, all the religions, and I'm just progressing towards the goal that God has for me.
Hi, I'm Nazanin Ben. I'm from Ithaca, New York. This is my brother, Gavin. He's from Buffalo. We're born in a Baha'i family, and we're Baha'is ourselves.
So, what interests me about the Baha'i faith, I think what really makes the Baha'i faith really amazing in my life is just having a really nice perspective on the world. Because when you read the Baha'i writings and all the teachings, you really can, it gives you a perspective on how to view what's going on and what's important in the world. And it really made my life easier to filter on, like, you get a lot of information about world events, but what world events are really going to be significant and what can you do about it. And it really was nice to be able to feel that this is what's going on, I understand why, and this is what I'd like to do to act. Because I'm interested in public health and how do I go work towards a better healthy world. So, and it was nice for me to do that.
Something similar, actually, that I really like about the Baha'i faith is that it has a vision of world unity. And, we see things happening like wars and peacemaking processes, and also things like the internet. The world is coming closer and closer together. But all this technology and all this change needs to have a purpose or like a soul, really, a heart to the matter. And that's what the Baha'i faith gives. The reason for all this advancement is so that the world can reach a better understanding and unity. And not anything, like, let's, about multiculturalism, let's love each other. It's a real understanding that we're each spiritual beings, and we're equal in that sense. And that the diversity of our skin and our cultures is just because of the diversity of the human race and of how God creates different things. It's not because any one of us is better than the other. But generally, I think the Baha'i faith is the same as Gavin was saying. It just gives so much direction and a way of understanding why this is all happening. It's a very confusing but exciting time to live.
Welcome back to Transforming Human Consciousness. I hope you enjoyed the footage that we presented to you. We're going to continue with our conversation with Mrs. Munsiff, an international world traveler who teaches the Baha'i faith, the International Baha'i Travel Teacher. I was so intrigued the way you put together the history of the Baha'i faith. And
especially you have to know these things, because people think that in this day and age, so many people talk about unity, talk about peace, talk about mixing of white and black and clever and whatever you want to call it, and still they're not getting anywhere. It's just, I don't know what I should call it. I leave it to you, friends, to do what you like with it. But the real thing is that unless and until you know that there has been a manifestation of God 150 years ago in a country, Iran. At that time, the historians said it was the darkest country in the world. Mm-hmm. And there, for him to come and say there is only one God, and all the prophets are from same God, so there's oneness of God, oneness of prophets, and oneness of mankind. This is for the first time that oneness of mankind has become a reality. Oneness of prophets have become a reality. Otherwise, this is my prophet, you will say that's my prophet, you will say that's my prophet, as if, it was a different one, as if the rays of the different sun you got it. Well, it's the same solar sun that gives energy in the same way that one God that sends his messengers and unites. And this is the time that today the world, the earth has become one, but the hearts have not. And that heart and that consciousness cannot be and will not be changed by anybody except by God through his messenger, through his manifestation of God.
So what you're saying is that it would be really in vain for each individual or us as humanity think without the assistance, the divine assistance, otherwise our own volition we are not going to.
Well, you can sit there and fly around the world in your mind, it's okay, but are you really flying? I mean, you have to choose an airplane, find a ticket, find the money to buy the ticket and get in and so on. So, no, of course not, you can't. You have to have a formula. You have to have, and Baha'u'llah just didn't give something to say, oh, if you can do it, do it. If you can't, don't do it. He said, no, you can do it, you will do it, and you must do it. If you don't do it, it will be destruction. It will be disaster. I mean, he didn't just leave it airy-fairy. He gave us the whole plan, whole blueprint as to how to go about it. He solved individual problems, he solved the problem of the society, he solved the problem of the nations and the world. And from the very beginning, he gave us the administrative order by which we don't have priests now because the time has changed. Instead of having a priest, we have institutions, spiritual institutions. We didn't just create it with, oh, it's a good idea to have now this and it's a good idea to have that. Baha'u'llah gave it all 150 years ago. Today, everybody wants human rights, but they don't want responsibility because they don't know what the responsibility is. And the right also they don't know. They think, as long as I'm all right, Jack, you can, go fly the kite. that sort of an attitude. And it doesn't work on that. Today we have to know what is our responsibility. If I want my right, my birthright is to investigate the truth, to find out what is the truth, why we haven't got something by which we can work and be together. And you will find it. As Christ said, that knock and the door shall be opened to you. Seek and you shall find. So we have to look for these things if you're conscious. If you're not, I don't know. But I'm sure those who are watching this program are conscious, but they don't know what to do about it. And so we get together and plan together and work together. It's today the women feel, oh, I am equal to men. Where did she get this idea from? Why for thousands of years they were not said, I am equal with men? Today they do. And unfortunately, they think of equality. If a man can smoke, I can smoke. If he can drink a bottle of whiskey, I can drink 2. If he can have an affair, I can have 10 affairs. That's not equality.
Is that becoming, for women, becoming masculine?
Women becoming I don't know what. So it's ridiculous. What we mean by is to equal opportunity. And even today, what Baha'u'llah said 150 years ago, it's revolutionary, even today in the Western world, never mind any other part of the world. And that is, he said, if parents do not have enough money to educate the son and the daughter, then leave the son to the community, the society to educate, because he's an individual. But the daughter must be educated first by the parents, because she's going to be the potential mother. And she's the first teacher of the child. Now they used to say, oh, no. A mother gives birth to the child. Then the father decides which school he goes, what he does, I paid for it. And that's not the point. The point is, Baha'u'llah said, the moment the woman conceives, all her thoughts is passed down to the child. Now, after 150 years, the science say yes. And scientifically it's been proven. Well, scientifically, a lot of things are proven, and we accept. And we think, it's wonderful, completely, sometimes without question. But scientists are not creators. They are inventors. That means they put things together what was already created. I was speaking in Japan, and there were 6 very famous scientists there. And I said to them, with due respect, I love the scientists. If we didn't have science and only religion, then we would be just with fanaticism and dogmas and superstition rituals, killing ourselves and others as well. If we leave science on its own, it will create better and bigger bomb to finish the world. So they must go together, and science will never dispute truth, and the truth will never dispute something that can be used for the betterment of mankind. But scientists cannot create an ant for me. I just ask them, please do me a favor, create an ant for me. Just a little ant. I'm not asking them for a big thing. They're not creators. So why do we get so excited? But we never pay attention to the one who has come from the Creator, who is the manifestation of God, who has given us and said this will happen and must happen, and this is how you go about it. Now, Baha'u'llah said there are 2 ways. Either you accept it through understanding or through misery. The choice is ours.
So, in a way, awareness and choice.
Yes.
This is the age of awareness and choice.
Exactly. We have a choice. Why do we have a choice? Because, it's so funny. People say, well, I can't change. I was born in this religion. Although I don't practice, but I'm a Catholic, I'm a Hindu, I'm a Muslim. Hey, come on. Did you have a choice? I didn't have. Anybody, please tell me, did they have a choice where they should be born? In which religion they should be born? Who should their parents be? What they should become? But when they grow up, they have a choice because God gave them free will and intelligence to choose. That's why a Baha'i today is the citizen of the world, and we're talking now about citizen of the world. But Baha'u'llah said 100 years ago that this whole world is one country and you are its citizen.
That's a wonderful note to finish, Mrs. Munsiff. So good of you to come. And I would love to have a chance to do another show together, so we can hear a bit more of your
You
work.
are greedy, you know that?
And I
I'd love
really
to. Thank you very
thanks
much.
so much for being here. And I'd like to thank our viewers for being with us. And if there are any questions or any comments about our program, please feel free to contact us through Baha'i Faith, PO Box 686, Claremont, California, and our phone number is 909-626-2569. And for Transforming Human Consciousness, I thank you for being with us. Welcome to Transforming Human Consciousness. I am Kayvon Geola, your host. This show is sponsored by the Spiritual Assembly of the Baha'is of Claremont, and it is dedicated to the understanding and the celebration of the oneness of all humanity. The pivotal teachings of the Baha'i faith. Baha'u'llah, the founder of the Baha'i faith, says, the earth is but one country and mankind its citizens. And today I have a very special guest that has experienced the oneness of all humanity because of her years of traveling across the globe. This is Meherangiz Munsiff.
Munsiff.
Munsiff. I have to learn Munsiff.
Correct.
You see, I have to learn to think Arabic. Because that's an Arabic word.
Yeah.
So good to have you here. Welcome.
Thank you. I'm very happy to be here. You see, being a Baha'i doesn't matter whether Munsiff, as Arabic may be so, but in India we had Persians and Arabs and Mughals, so they was derived from that. And
you're from the Zoroastrian background, which is a Persian.
Well, all religion came from the East, so it's nothing, including Christ, you know.
There's no one who came from the West?
Not that I know of. If you do, please let me know. If you know, when the sun rises in the West, will you inform me? It rises in the East and it sets in the West.
It's true. And Christianity, Judaism, Buddhism, Hinduism, all came from the East.
That's why I said the sun rises in the East, but it sets in the West. You know, they start doing a lot of things, then again it rises in the East. When it sets, then it rises.
Talking about India, and I would like to take this opportunity to ask you a question that I cannot ask many other guests.
Oh, don't do that. You trying to fry me?
Well, you know, growing up in the latter part of my life in the West, I know that especially in recent years, there is such a fascination with the religions, especially came from India, especially with Buddhism. And people of the West who have been raised in the bosom, particularly of Christianity, consider Buddhism something very special, maybe more than Christianity. How does that work? I mean,
first of all, one must understand, we call religion as if it's a different religion. Religion is not different. The aspects of it different. Religion is one, and it grows according to the time and needs of the people. Like you and I were babies. Look at me, I'm an old lady now. Are you going to just say that it's no good talking to you? I want that baby, or I want that toddler, or I want that teenager. I'm the same baby that was once a toddler, once a teenager, and now I'm an old woman. So really one must understand religion as one, and it has grown. And now people are searching for salvation, searching for peace and unity and how to bring about harmony. They're tired and fed up of war and riots and bigotedness and all these superstitions and fanaticism. They're fed up. But they forget that it is not, I can't go back to my youth or my babyhood. I have to make the most of what I am now. So for this age, Baha'u'llah has given us how to unite yourself. Buddhism was wonderful when it came to India. The same way that the other religions suffer. So the Buddhism is a part of the same religion. And Buddha had to leave India and go elsewhere. It's a long story. But the point is this, that when King Ashoka accepted Buddha at that time, his teachings rather, a new civilization came into being. And every time a manifestation of God comes onto this earth, he brings the teachings by which people get united and they're conscious of building a new civilization. So we call it the Ashoka civilization. It was the greatest civilization for that age. But today, the Buddhism or Hinduism or any other aspects of religion does not have that power. Because it's like using anything that we have now. Even, say, for example, you have a telephone. If your area code changes, you have to change to communicate. You can't say, no, I had that first one, I'm going to stick to it. Okay, good luck, stick to it, but you're not communicating to anybody. So The change is for the better to communicate. So it's the same telephones, the same company is giving you more.
So every quote has changed.
Yes. So instead of why go backward? Go forward. Buddha predicted the coming of his return. He said, when I come back the fifth time, I will come as the great Buddha and Maitreya Buddha, the great Buddha, and establish golden age. Krishna said, I'll come back again and again. That was before Buddha, to uphold the righteous and uproot the evil. And he said, I will establish the kingdom of God on earth. And because we don't have time, and most of the viewers believe in Jesus Christ by choice or by accident, even Christ said, I will return in the glory of my Father and establish heaven on earth. So heaven is not going to fall from the sky. All that will fall is bomb in the end. But we have to build it with some teachings of return of Christ, and Baha'u'llah is the return of Christ. In the name Baha'u'llah itself means the glory of God, glory of Father. And Christ said, I will come in a new name and I will make all things new. Baha'u'llah is a new name. And look around you. Everything is new. So what is the cause of this? Please look into it. You cannot have an effect without a cause. Find out what the cause is. So when one is a Baha'i, respect and love for Hinduism, Buddhism, Christianity, Judaism, all of it, because they all made humanity come forward. And today we can be one and work together and create a new world civilization.
It's a beautiful way of putting it. So don't go back, look at the 2-year-old or the 6-year-old. If the child is 16 or 17,
go further, go on further. You have to progress, don't go backwards. One person told me that, there's no time, but I give a whole course on prayer and meditation, and it's free. I don't charge anything. I don't believe in charging something that God gave us free. And he said, Mrs. Monsiff, it took me 10 years to learn to levitate an inch from the ground. I can levitate an inch. He said, it took you 10 years? I said, it'll take me 10 minutes to take an elevator and go up on the 36th floor with 6 other friends. What's so big about that? I'd rather give credit to one who created the elevator and I can use it.
Well, let's go ahead and take it. I love your sense of humor. Let's go ahead.
If I didn't have sense of humor, I would have been dead or I would have killed many people, one or the other.
Let's go ahead and take a break, and then we're going to come back, and I'd love to hear some more of your wonderful insight.
Thank you very much.
And for our viewers, I'd love to ask you to tune in to this upcoming footage that is brought to you by some of the individual Baha'is throughout the world. And then we'll come back and continue with our conversation with Mrs. Munsiff.
You said it right.
I said it right this time.
Congratulations.
Hello, my name is Dr. William Roberts, and I am the Senior Vice President for a consulting firm, Drake and Lacey Milano. I live in Massachusetts and work in the northeastern part of the United States. I am really happy to be here at the Rabbani Trust Conference. It's been a wonderful experience to meet old friends and to meet new ones. I think one of the really very exciting things about being a Baha'i is the opportunity to travel all over the world. I personally visited more than 50 countries, and every country I've been to, really I have a chance to greet and embrace fellow believers, friends, in a spirit of brotherhood and unity. And it's really been quite a remarkable experience in my life. So I hope that all of you have a chance to meet members of the Baha'i community and get to know them and experience some of the wondrous diversity that exists. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Bobby Akhtia. I'm from San Francisco, California. It's good to be here in Florida at the International Social and Economic Development Conference. It's great to be here. I think it's great to be Baha'i for the reasons. This conference is great is because of all the people who are here, all the people from Peru, from Bolivia, from Canada, from all over the place, that are here for this conference, all because they really believe and believe in what sort of the message of Baha'u'llah has brought. So that's what's so great.
Hi, my name is Marcia Pritchard. I'm from Plantation, Florida, and I'm a Baha'i. The reason why I'm a Baha'i is because it's not just a religion, it's a way of life. Being Baha'i is not just once a week kind of a thing, it's every single day of your life. You strive to live in accordance with the laws and the teachings of the Baha'i faith. And that's what's wonderful about it, is that every day when you wake up, you know that you're going to live that day in order to be a good person and to better the world, just one day at a time.
All right, now you have met the grandchildren, but most important is to meet their parents. And this is my daughter. One daughter, and all these kids. My daughter, and she needs a little help from my husband. And they can speak for themselves. And I'm grateful to be able to introduce them. I love them very, very, very much. I'm Karen. This is Cal.
I'm Cal.
We've been Baha'is for about 30 years, and I first investigated the Baha'i faith because I was interested in Baha'i teachings on the nature of life after death. And I suppose it was those teachings that led me most to become a Baha'i. I was particularly trying to find what would be the condition of a soul of a child who passed away. And because I had lost my brother early as a child, and it was my childhood search to determine what had happened to him. It was those teachings that led me to the faith. I've been a Baha'i for many years, and a Baha'i family. And now, after finding the answers to those questions, I discovered that the real, in addition to the individual assistance that Baha'i teachings bring to the individual person and the progress of the soul, more significantly, the Baha'i teachings aid in the progress and the development of society.
I agree with all of that. I was born into a Baha'i family. As a teenager growing up, I rejected it a bit and started looking into other religions and realizing that it was only through the Baha'i faith that I could make sense out of all of the chaos. What seemed to be disagreements with all of the other religions and find a way of threading them all together and to make it some kind of coherent sense for me.
I'm Donald Witzel, and I'm from Cabudare, central western Venezuela. I'm a Baha'i. I've been in Venezuela for 30 years, and in Latin America for 47. And I'm there. All Baha'is work for their living. We don't have any missionaries. We all teach our faith in the free time. I'm retired, and I dedicate all my free time to teach the Baha'i faith, which is a world religion and brought about by the coming of Baha'u'llah, the messenger of God for today, who has come to help and to raise up all of humanity in a common faith amongst mankind.
Welcome back to Transforming Human Consciousness, and we're going to continue a wonderful conversation with my guest, Mrs. Meherangiz Munsiff, who's from India, a world traveler, a teacher, an advocate of human rights and the oneness of humanity. I know you give a very wonderful class on prayer and meditation. Now, the whole question of meditation has so many different facets and looks, and especially it seems like those of us who know more about Hinduism, Buddhism, somewhat more authority on meditation. I'd like for you to tell us a little bit more about what is the Baha'i view of meditation, what is really the way that you've seen it done in different ways.
It takes 9 days and you have got 8 minutes. Now, even if I was a miracle performer, I still couldn't do that. But I can say one thing, that Baha'u'llah, the founder of the Baha'i faith, says that everyone must meditate. If they don't meditate, they're animals. Nay, they're worse than animals, because animals do not have
the facilities by which, the faculties by which they must meditate. Now, meditate is not a certain form of sitting or standing or dancing around or whatever. Meditation is, you see the researchers, they meditate because they think about it, how to go about this, how to go about that, they do something with it. Government people do meditate, how to govern, what to do with this policy, that policy. Even the ordinary housewife, if you're not doing anything, I've got to do shopping, what do I have to get this? You're constantly meditating, but if only we would spare about 5 minutes to meditating, why was I created? You know, what have I created? What am I supposed to do? Because if only to eat, drink, make merry, have children, and in the end drop dead, well, animals do it perfectly. They don't have ulcers, they don't get nervous breakdown, they abide by the law of nature. And that's what I've been created to do with all my free will, my intelligence, all the faculties I have, just to be like animals. And today we are worse than that, so I wouldn't even call anybody animals because it's an insult to the animals. They don't break the laws of nature, they abide by it. And you don't abide by the laws that God gave us time to abide by it. So we have to meditate in that way, no matter what you're doing, but you have to be quiet. You can't meditate, talk and meditate at the same time. It's normal. You try to do anything, any kind of thinking, you have to stop talking. That's all there is to it. And nobody can tell you, you must sit like this. But the most important thing is to meditate upon the holy writings. Today is the day to meditate upon the holy writings of Baha'u'llah, the founder of the Baha'i faith, for Baha'is. But if you don't want to, okay, meditate upon the writings of Jesus Christ or Krishna or Buddha and see what it says for future. Are we there? If so, where is the source? And go to the source. These are the things that you can think about it and do it.
So in essence, human beings, we meditate, but we choose what to meditate upon.
Correct. But if we just spend a few minutes, then we can find something worthwhile and really achieve something. But that only through the prayers and the writings of the holy prophets. All the prayers that, for Christians, there's only one prayer that Christ gave, and that's the Lord's Prayer. And in that he said, thy will be done as it is in heaven on earth. Now, what is his will? How do we do it? How do we create it? Look and search and find and do something about it.
Could meditation just be meditation and no action? What would be?
But the very fact that you're meditating, you have to act. If you just think what shopping I can do, you make list after list and don't go shopping. Do you think you have food in the house to cook?
So the kind of meditation where we blanken our mind completely.
Yeah, blanken your mind. First of all, if you keep sitting for hours and hours, I'll give you a simple example because we don't have time. Say, for example, your oven. You light the oven every day for 1 hour, half an hour, 2 hours, 5 hours. What for? The oven is there to cook something. But you're lighting it on and off, and then you just burn the enamel inside the oven, and nothing comes out. But the oven is for whether you put cookies or cakes or fish or bread or whatever. And then at a certain time, you must take it out and then eat it or feed others. You must do something with it. Otherwise, it's of no value. What value is there in just switching on and on the oven? This is our oven with the, and our brain can never be still because the brain has the brain waves, like the sea has the waves. And if the waves of the sea stops, the world will die. If the waves stop, we will be finished. So you can't do that. Only thing you can become more and more, stupid by not using it, because brain is something, the more you use, the better it gets. Like any part of your body. If I just eat and sit there, I'll be that size and drop dead in the end. I must eat and I must exercise, I must walk and do work and so forth. It must have an action. So you must pray, you must think about it and then act. And act is to prove yourself that mankind is one. Why do we are afraid of each other because they're different. For example, if I'm a sari and you're in a dress, I'm afraid of you and you're afraid of me if I've never seen each other before. I will never forget that in Africa once, with some friends who knew the language of the native African general, I took him with me, I had 2 young men, and then there was the Messiah leader, chief coming, big tall fellow with his spear and all that, and these boys were getting nervous. I said, why are you nervous? He said, I don't know, I've never seen it. I said, it's okay, it's human being, So as he came nearer, I smiled, and then he smiled, and then I said that these boys were nervous of you. He said, never mind the boys, I was nervous of you. Because he had never seen anyone like it. So he thought, what kind of an animal is this one, So when we don't know each other, we don't trust each other, don't go close to each other. And remember, I've been, as I said, in many countries of the world, and I've lived in all kinds. I've lived in palaces and I've lived in jungles. And people are people. You show them love, they show you love. You smile, they smile. You hate them, they hate you. You cry, they cry. So, I challenge the world if I put the hearts of all the different colors and cultures or whatever you call, there's no time, if I put a dozen different hearts there. Is there anyone to say, this heart belongs to an Indian lady and this belongs to American African or whatever you want to call it, and this belongs. This nonsense. The different colors is a beauty. It's like an artist. God is an artist that has painted this world. Can you imagine the world? Everywhere you went, you look the same kind of color, people, same kind. I'll commit suicide. I wouldn't travel, really, because, oh God, what will I see? But the different shape and sizes and colors, it's so beautiful. And you become so, get to know people and love people. It's ridiculous. But again, I come back to the same thing, that you cannot change unless and until you follow the words of the manifestation of God, the prophets of God for that day and age, and for this age is Baha'u'llah, who talks of oneness of mankind. And Dr. Bernard, the first South African heart plant doctor, he planted a black man's heart in a white man's body, and still the white man didn't love the black man. It's not going to work like that. The word of God changes the heart, changes your consciousness, changes your attitude. Today, we don't have this prejudice of any kind. And it's not only prejudice of color or religion or caste. Today, we have prejudice of how this person is wearing, why does he have a ring in his ears or in his nose, or why a long leg, or shaven head, or he's literate or he's illiterate. Hey, come on. Look at the heart of the person. He's conscious. You be conscious of it, that he's human. It's beautiful. What has all these outward things got to do with each other? It's ridiculous.
Thank you so much. It does change the consciousness.
Of course, only by that word. As it did before, it will do it now.
Thank you so much for this message of hope, for this message of change.
Well, before you close, 1 second, I will quickly tell you that the Baha'i faith is established all over the world. It's not only Persians and Indians you see. And we are known as a non-governmental body by the United Nations. And we are millions of people. And now, Internet and Encyclopedia Britannica says it's the fastest growing religion of the world. So that's where whole of mankind is.
And Mrs. Monsiff, much power and strength to you in your travels and your journeys and your lectures. Thank you so much.
Much power to you too, to putting this program. I know what it's like.
Thank you.
And thank you for the viewers who took time to look in.
Thank you so much. And I'd like to thank our viewers for being with us and sharing this occasion with us. And if there are any questions or comments, please do feel free to contact us through Baha'i Faith, PO Box 686, Claremont, California. Our phone number is 909-626-2569. and for transforming human consciousness. I thank you for being with us.
Bye. Thank you, Mom.